Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday as you are listening to the show today. We, of course, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen. And since it is Wednesday, it is The Valley Business Today, and it is Front Royal Warren County's turn at the mic. So I am staring at the smiling face of Nikki Kales. She is the president of the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. She's got her glasses on today, so she must have a serious day ahead of her.
Well, I have reached that place where, I wear contacts, that, Janet, but I've reached that place where I can't read now with my contacts in unless I have some assistance. So, I figure if I have to have readers, I better get some cute ones. So,
well, and that was kind of my problem. When I had contacts, I couldn't read. So I would get readers, which kind of defeated the whole purpose of wearing contacts if you still have to put glasses on to actually see something.
Enough. True. Yeah. So
well, I am excited about your guests today because they are not only brand new to the show, but they are brand new to Front Royal.
Absolutely. And this is a service that for years and years, as we talked about, things that would be a good fit for Main Street in particular. This is a service that always came up in discussion. So we're so excited to have Stephanie Myers with us. And Stephanie has opened ReWed Bridal on Main Street. And so we're going to let Stephanie tell us all about the really cool things that are going to happen in there and are happening. Stephanie, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So Stephanie, how long have you been open? When did you open on Main Street in Front Royal?
We opened officially on Valentine's Day.
Appropriate.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought that'd be kind of a fun way to get started, and we actually had quite a few visitors that day. So it was a great start for many people. Yeah, we've been open for about a week now, and things are going really well. It's been a fantastic first week. We've had quite a few brides in, and some have found their wedding dresses, so that was really exciting.
And you're new to Main Street, but you're not new to the bridal business. You've done this for a while before you opened the shop in Front Royal, haven't you?
So it's been kind of an interesting progression for me. And the answer is yes, but not in this capacity. So before this, I actually was going way back. I was a property manager as an apartment community property manager, and I hated my job. And it was just, I really enjoyed connecting with people and wanted something that was happier. There's a lot of sad parts to being a property manager. So I quit my job, my full-time job, and I purchased a laser engraver. And I'm very crafty, very creative, love crafting. And so with that, I started a business. I started a business out of my home. I sold online. I sold in some of the local stores in the town I was living in. And it went really, really well. And my biggest clients were brides. And I started to think, this is a really kind of great avenue, and I wanted to explore it more. So I planned and researched and created a one-day event where brides could come and consign their used wedding decor and their dresses. We had a whole section and fitting rooms and everything, and we invited people from all over to come and shop at this one-day event. And it was really successful. It was received really well. We had a lot of participants, both on the seller side and the shopper side. We invited local wedding vendors to come and participate, and it was a much needed service. And the feedback that I got was that, you need to have a location, a specific, storefront that, we can do this on a regular basis, or, maybe the one day event just wasn't schedule appropriate for some people. And so they wanted a place where, just be easy to come in, drop off your stuff and go. And so I did another one, and the second time I picked a local wedding venue, and it was on a farm, and so it kind of helps promote some of the local vendors, including the venue. And it also was incredibly successful. Overall, we had people attend these events from 7 different states.
Wow.
So people traveled. And so I started thinking, this is really a much needed service in our area where these items are only used for a few hours. Things that are on a table or used as decor aren't even touched. They're just there. And so it was something that I thought, why not? People are working on a budget, especially now with COVID. The weddings have changed a lot in this amount of time. People are focusing more on family and less on, spending $20, $30, $50,000 on a wedding. It's quite insane, the amount of money and how quickly it goes in the wedding industry. So ultimately, I started looking for a location and seeing, where can where needs a service like this? Where can I provide something that, we have new, but also where people can come and bring their consignment? It's not easy to get rid of your items after a wedding. Your options are Facebook or Craigslist or yard sales. And, when it comes to dresses, people don't want to try on dresses at a yard sale or or meet up at a public place and have to go into the bathroom and try on a dress. Like, that's just insane. So it's really difficult to resell these items at the end of your event.
And I love the fact that sometimes people, you mentioned, especially because of COVID, but even pre-COVID, and I'm sure even post-COVID, budget is a big deal. I mean, weddings can get outrageously expensive, and not everybody has the budget, but that shouldn't keep them from having the wedding of their dreams, especially if they can get some things that were used in somebody else's wedding.
Right. And I was incredibly inspired by my own experience with that. It was something where I didn't want to spend that kind of money. I had a smaller budget. I wanted it to be about my family, but very quickly learned that even with a small budget, it's not easy to find, and if I had something like this where I could have gone and shopped all in one place. I mean, we have decor, we have dresses, we have giftables from local handmade groups. We even do tuxedo rentals. So if there was a place like that where I could have gone and shopped, and had we have a range of budgets. I mean, wedding dresses anywhere from $200 up to $2,000. We have wedding decor from $1 all the way up to $50. There's a lot of options, and it's almost like a one-stop shop. And I wish that there was something like that, for my wedding. I was a major DIYer for my wedding. I did my own flowers. I made my own decor. And one of the biggest frustrations for me, and I did it really not just because of budget, but a lot of it was just because I enjoy doing that. But I had a really hard time either reselling or even gifting these items when it was gone. I held on to some of this stuff for 2 years before I finally just donated it to a local charity, which, is a great cause, but I wanted it to go to somebody that, maybe could use it in their own wedding. So that was a big inspiration for the why behind wanting to start a wedding business that also has consignment.
Where are you located on Main Street?
We are located at 114 East Main Street. We are directly across from the movie theater and next door to Town Hall. So there is a little bit of parking on the street where we're located, but there's plenty of parking behind our building as well. So you can park there. If you want, you can give us a call. We'll let you in the back door, or you can walk around to the front and Main Street, which is preferred, because then you get to see how beautiful Main Street is.
Well, Nikki, I know you and I both have a bit of experience in planning and putting together our own weddings. And my regular listeners have heard my wedding story probably 4 times at least, because for 4 years now, since I've been doing the show, I have First Night Winchester on, which is where I got married. So I always tell the story. But let's take a quick break, because I'm getting married again. My husband's probably listening to this going, excuse me, what? In 2023 for our 25th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So I want to talk a little bit about brides who are renewing their vows and doing some of these other things where budget is even more of an issue than it is for the initial wedding. Can we talk about that in the second segment?
That sounds great.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on the Zoom screen with Nikki Kales. She is the president of the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. Her guest today for the Valley Business Today is Stephanie Myers. She is the owner of ReWed Bridal on Main Street in Front Royal. We're going to talk more with them in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday as you are listening to the show today. It is the Valley Business Today. We are on the Zoom screen pre-recording our conversation with Nikki Kales. She is the president of the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. Joining her is one of her newest chamber members, Stephanie Myers. See, now I can't even I'm messing up before I even get to her name. Stephanie Myers with ReWed Bridal. She is located on Main Street in Front Royal. And Nikki, you and I were talking during the break about all the years that we planned the bridal show for the chamber and what a struggle it was, in particular, to find wedding dresses and wedding dress vendors to participate in the show, because that had kind of gone by the wayside and people were going into the city to get their dresses. So this has got to be great that you have somebody now that's a one-stop shop that you can maybe include when shows and events and things like that start back up again.
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I was, when way back when Stephanie and I talked about this, Stephanie made a post on one of the local Facebook groups about the potential for a bridal shop. What was that? That's been close to a year ago, correct, Stephanie?
It was a year ago. I was doing my research about locations, and Front Royal was one of the places that I had visited during my research and fell in love with the town. And so one of the first things I did was I found the biggest Facebook group, and I put a post that just said, hey, is there interest in something like this where, do we need a bridal store, or, would there be interest in consignment?
Mm-hmm. And I was so excited when I saw that. And then, I knew, that Rob McDougall, who's down on Main Street, that would too, for Rob, was one of the things that he had really been trying to recruit to Main Street. And so we were both really excited about that. And to see, Stephanie, come in and choose Front Royal as her place, we're super, super thrilled. Because it is not only is it filling a void for our locals, but it's bridal shops are destination businesses. So this is a business that will bring people from outside of our community from distance. I mean, we're not just talking about people in Strasburg. We're talking about people all over the region. because again, if you think about the number of bridal shops in the area, there are not very many. So to your point, Janet, yes, we used to struggle it was quite a difficulty to find a vendor to be the bridal dress tuxedo vendor at our shows. And so, now of course that we have a local person, our bridal shows are going to be pretty darn good.
Well, and Stephanie, I would imagine, and this is going to sound really weird, but I would imagine COVID, and I hate to say it this way, but COVID is kind of a win-win for somebody in your business, because a lot of couples having quarantined together have realized they don't want to be a couple anymore. So they're going to be selling off all of their old wedding stuff. And a lot of couples who quarantine together have decided they do want to get married, but maybe one of them has gone part-time or has been let go from their job. So they're working on a budget and still need to plan a wedding. So you kind of get them in either direction that they're going in their relationship.
It's really pretty amazing when it comes to COVID. And that was something that I spent a lot of time really researching and wondering about, because how did it affect the wedding business, the wedding industry? And it did in a number of ways. I mean, I more heard, like, I had personal family members that had to push their weddings off a year. And or I had a cousin that she decided to just, get married at the Justice of the Peace and do a small, like, just her immediate parents and siblings, and that was it. And then next year she's going to do, work with her venue and have the reception. And so I think there's a lot of brides that are doing that. And it really, what I'm finding now that I've been open is that COVID has absolutely pushed off most weddings. However, it's just, they're not happening. They're just changing. We're going from these big, gorgeous, glittery ball gowns and glam to these really, brides are wanting simple. Brides are wanting budget, because it has affected people's jobs in a major way. People are getting laid off all over the place. And so, it does affect budget as well. And even if it doesn't, you can only have so many people safely at your wedding or your reception. So, it is really changing just the entire dynamic of how people are planning their weddings. So, and you're right, there are people that maybe had to cancel the wedding or just decided to forego it altogether and just do the Justice of the Peace. So they have all this decor and things that they've collected that they would like to sell. It is a great service to be able to have a place to sell your items. So, and we're hitting that time of the year where, spring is where normally the wedding season will get going, but we're still seeing a lot of COVID delays. So a lot of people I'm seeing are pushing it back to the fall of this year. So there's still a lot of time to plan for these brides that, or even if not, I had one come in this past week that was getting married in March and she needed a wedding dress. So, it was just kind of a quick wedding, like where they just, like you said, they were just home and like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just get married. And that is also a service that we can provide, because most of our dresses right now are kind of cash and carry. You try that on, you bring it with you. We work with a local alterations company that has been fantastic in providing, quotes and estimates on getting these dresses altered so that they fit perfectly.
And that's the key. I mean, I was telling you, Nikki, the look of shock on Nikki's face when I told her I was getting married again in 2023 was probably the same look my husband had in his vehicle as he's driving around listening to this today. But we got married. We had a secret wedding. We got married on a year from the day that we met. Now, we had known each other in high school, but we had lost touch with each other. So we got married in the place where we met a year from that date. And we were wearing the same clothes we were wearing when we met in that location. And that was on the 13th of December, but we'd already started planning our wedding for the 31st. And we had our wedding at First Night Winchester at midnight. And then at our 10-year wedding anniversary, we renewed our wedding vows and we did them, shocker, at a coffee shop. Herb hosted us at the Daily Grind when he owned it at Creekside in Winchester. So I've always told Tim that we've never really had the normal traditional wedding. So at 25 years, that's what I want to do. I borrowed my wedding dress for the actual wedding dress. And now the couple that I borrowed it from have since divorced, and I got the husband in the divorce. And I don't even know where the wife or the dress that I wore that day was. And I want my own wedding dress that I can keep forever and have. And your shop is going to be perfect for people in those kinds of situations.
I love that. I love how non-traditional that process has been for you. I think that it really kind of tells to my story as well with the store and the types of brides that when I thought about who do I want my clientele to be, it was people just like you. It was the non-traditional. It was the brides that are looking for budget, or that are looking to the idea of reusing and recycling was really big to me. And so it's I love hearing those stories, and they are so far some of my favorite ones to talk about when I meet these brides in the store. You're getting a full bridal experience anyway with our store. You'll have, if you set an appointment with us, you'll have your own consultant, and our time is completely undivided. It's your attention is completely, our attention is completely yours. So in your situation, we would be more than excited. We have all types and styles of dresses, from like I said, the simple to the ball gowns, even some vintage unusual dresses, the short T-length dresses. There's really a lot of option in what we're doing.
So what are your hours in the shop?
We are open from Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday through Saturday, we're open 10 until 6, and Sundays we're open 12 to 5. And then we are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
And you mentioned when someone makes an appointment, is that the ideal thing for them to call and make an appointment, or just wander in and take it from there?
We will do both. We do accept walk-ins, but it would be ideal to, you can either call or you can go online to our website at www.rewedbridal.com, where you can see what kind of items we consign, and you can also sign up for an appointment to either consign, try on dresses, or be fitted for a tuxedo, for tuxedo rentals. And if you do that, then we can give you our undivided attention. We give you an entire hour and longer if we can. And that way, if somebody walks in, you are our complete priority. We're not going to be interrupted. We'll let the voicemail, the phones even go to voicemail. We really want this to be your time.
And do you have social media outlets? Can people find you on any of the social networks?
We can. We are currently on Facebook, which is where our most updated information can be found. If we post, new incoming items, dresses, not everything, but, we want some stuff to be a surprise when you come in, but we will post there. So that's ReWed Bridal on Facebook. We are on Instagram under ReWed Bridal. And we're also on TikTok, although I've got one video so far. So we'll be working on that. That's our newest outlet. And again, under ReWed Bridal.
And Nikki, you're planning a ribbon cutting for them through the chamber, right?
Mm-hmm. We are. We're actually going to have a ribbon cutting for ReWed on March 17th, which happens to be St. Patrick's Day. So we're working on a green ribbon and all that fun stuff. So, and I think Stephanie is going to put together some different things that week, some different activities and stuff. And so we'll, as all of that comes to fruition, we'll get that information out there for everyone.
And then you have another ribbon cutting for Blue Ridge Hospice Thrift Store, which is you're going to need a really big ribbon for the really big store they're moving into.
Yeah, so the Blue Ridge Hospice thrift shop here in Front Royal is currently located in the Royal Plaza Shopping Center. So they're moving. However, they're really only moving maybe 5 storefronts. So they're moving from one of the smaller spaces in the shopping center to the large Peebles, the old Peebles store. It was Peebles and then Gordman's for a few months. They are moving into that spot. And that is happening, I guess they're supposed to start this weekend, but they're going to open that location on March 6th. So we're doing a ribbon cutting for them at 9 a.m. on March 6th. And then all day long, they're going to have hourly door prizes and special sales and, all sorts of stuff there. So folks should definitely come out for that. And then, of course, for Stephanie's ribbon cutting on the 17th.
And I know from our Friday coffee breaks, Patty Fadley from Blue Ridge Hospice was talking about how this new location for them is also going to serve as a warehouse and distribution
Yes.
because they have so many donations that come into Front Royal that it really is going to check a bunch of boxes for them.
It is absolutely. And, as you're thinking about, thinking about clutter and, getting rid of things and, like I'm doing right now, definitely keep them in mind as a drop-off point. And Patty specifically mentioned the other day that they're really in need of furniture items
and housewares.
Yes, and houseware. So they do sell a lot of that. So if you've got that sort of stuff around the house that you want to donate, definitely keep the hospice thrift shop as an location for that.
So we've got to wrap up today's episode. Stephanie, before we go, can you tell me your web address and your address one more time?
Absolutely. Our website is rewedbridal.com, and our physical address is 114 East Main Street, and that's Front Royal.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, for hanging out with us on the Zoom screen for a little bit this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
And Nikki, Front Royal Chamber on Facebook, on frontroyalchamber.com for the website. I know you're still working on that. And I know you and I will see each other on Zoom again, but everybody else will get to hear you next month on Zoom.
Yes, absolutely.
We are going to wrap up our conversation today. For the Valley Business Today, we have been recording with Nikki Kales from the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. Joining her on the Zoom screen is Stephanie Meyer. She is with ReWed Bridal. They are located on Main Street in Front Royal. I'll put links to everything that we discussed today up on the podcast page. You can find that at theriver953.com under the podcast tab. I will meet you back here tomorrow. I'll have a brand new episode of The Valley Today ready to go for you just a few minutes after noon. Meet me here then.